Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. This is Empress Chakra Wanda, owner of Crochet and Micro Lock Elegance. I am a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a cousin. And dear client, I have been your crown care gardener, supporter for over a decade. It's been it is a blessing to work on the crowns of beautiful queens, but I learned some information that I can't ignore. And I had to write this out so I can get through it. So yeah, it's going on 12 years. Providing protective hair services. So last year, October 2024, as a part of, I always go to continuing education, right? I pay attention to things that show up. And I attended a phenomenal conference that specialized in hair loss. When I first started in 2014, I actually prayed. I said, God, who is my audience? And the first month that I worked, that audience showed up. I have clients that have different, anywhere from full head of hair to restoring or transitioning from perm, to other situations, but you wouldn't be able to tell from the smiles and the pictures that I show. You can't tell who is experiencing what. And I'm self-taught with the crochet technique, and then in 2021 I took on learning micro lock services, right? Last year I went to a conference, a collaboration between medical board certified dermatologists and people that are instrumental leaders in the natural hair arena. And they came together to help educate those that touch the crowns of melanin women. There were barbers, there were stylists, cosmetologists, natural stylists. There were representatives from schools, cosmetology schools, natural hair schools. It was such a diverse group of people. We ended up in 3 days of intense training to bring awareness to basically an epidemic of hair loss affecting Black women. 50% of Black women have hair loss. And in 2014, when I first started, the first 30 days, I had done my marketing. And when people showed up, half of the women had hair loss of different variations and for different reasons, health reasons, genetic or androgenetic, which is, a previous family member may have had the hair loss. It runs in the family, but I question that piece. I'm like, because as Black people, we weren't born with hair loss, But there are different categories and different reasons, and over the year, different types of hair loss. So alopecia means hair loss. So there's different types. So at the conference, there were some truths that I cannot unhear, and I cannot ignore. There were so many quiet moments because of revelations shared with us, which has to do basically with hair care products for the scalp, for the hair, extensions, synthetic, and lots of information. I got my certification, being taught by this awareness to come back to my city, to my practice, what we learned, what we were told about, what we were encouraged to continue to research. And I began to research, and I began to find, and I began to have sleepless nights. And I began to share with my clients. I really wanted to send out a big blast. And if I had the resources, I probably would have stopped altogether. But here I am. I'm sure maybe you've experienced this in your life where it's like being in a relationship and you realize some truths about the relationship, and now you're in it and you try to unravel from it. But I feel a divine reasoning for being in the position that I am. I have clients that I've seen their children grow up. I have clients who, a couple of them are no longer with me. I have clients that are like friends. I have clients who I've seen health issues occur in whatever the dynamic is, occur in their own lives. And so most of my ladies are mature, seasoned queens. Ranging, I have a couple that are in their 30s. I have some 40s and 50s, right? And baby boomers like me. So, what I learned, the bottom line is we've been targeted through hair care products. We've been targeted through hair care products. We've been targeted through hair care products. When I did my research, I began to speak to my clients one-on-one and share the information. I learned quickly that I needed to deliver the information in different ways, being sensitive to each person, not to be too technical. For the most part, most clients said, hey, what should we do? And I suggested that we began to move away from using synthetic hair. But it's more than synthetic hair. As I read the journals of information, and that was in October, November, December, then March comes, and there was a consumer report that came out about synthetic hair, and they tested 10 brands, but there's more than 10 brands. And everything they spoke about was what I learned, became aware of at the conference, and the seed was planted to do your own homework. The reason why the conference, and I went to the second conference, and they've been having conferences almost every month. I'll be going to it again in October. They've been having workshops in different cities, and there's constant education being put out on the Facebook and Instagram pages. They said on stage, as you learn this, we typically are nice to our clients, but we're telling you straight to your face. They told us straight to our face. If you go back and don't make changes, you participate in the problem. Because they've tried to speak to the big companies about the ingredients in products affecting Black women, right? Hormones, endocrine disruption, specifically also that products you think are natural because it's natural doesn't mean it's actually safe, because an oil, maybe it's what's being put on your crown was pulled from the root of the plant versus the top of the plant versus being diluted and added, and you may not know. Even a company that sells it may not know because they may get some of the product from a bigger company. So you're like, what? What's she talking about? You know. Then in March they announced it. They announced. And then I would see the comments across the internet, YouTube, you have different responses, which surprised me. And then again, it didn't surprise me. Responses from younger people, responses from 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. You could just tell from the response, oh, I'm going to get my hair done anyway. Even influencers, as they addressed these reports, they would say, hey, these are the hairs that I use. I've never had a problem. You know, they got a full head of hair and beautiful makeup. I'm not shading, but it should have been a disclaimer on some of their stuff because not everybody's the same. And one of the things that irritates me when it comes to the conversation with us as a people, we can tend to be like buzzards. We will stroke you up. Oh, you good, da 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 da. But if you say something or share something that is not in agreement, then you're like buzzards, and then you're like keyboard cowards. You won't what you say and type is not the, you wouldn't come and knock on the door of a salon and tell a person that, like, say for instance, I'm announcing or sharing a style. You can easily go in the comments and say, oh, that part is large, but you won't come knocking on my door and tell me to my face. So here's the deal. The facts are the facts without any emotion. So in March, they announced that synthetic hair is made of toxic components. The thing to know about this is that if you've been wearing it and you feel like you have not had no problem, well, a lot of it is accumulative over time. That was March. Well, I had already spoke to my clients about transitioning from synthetic to human hair. I tried my best to try a company. 3 clients agreed to try these individual crochet strands. 3 clients, two of them chose the same pattern, a wavy, and one chose a curly. Well, first of all, the hair smelled like doll baby hair. Why it smell? So one client, she definitely washed hers. And then the other 2, the hair was a bird's nest in 2 weeks. I did a recording on the second one. I took hers out. She kept it in longer because she invested in it. So I've been posting, podcasting on my YouTube, Crochet and Microlock Elegance, a series called Dear Client, because that's who I'm going to focus on. I'm focusing on y'all, the ones that see this, my clients. And my sister friends, listen, tell your sister friends. And what about your children? Then, July 17th, more information came out. And this is from Congress. And I'm not even into the politics, but here's the title. July 17th, Congress targets hair products with cancer-causing ingredients marketed to Black women. Basically, it's on the Congress floor. This ain't the beginning of it. There's proposals that have been created as far back as 2023, and some momentum even before that. Congress targets hair products with cancer-causing ingredients marketed to Black women. Lawmakers cited mounting evidence linking beauty ingredients to serious health conditions such as breast cancer and learning disabilities. In a nutshell, there are 4 bills that have been presented on the floor or at Congress, and there are 2 congresswomen that spearheading these bills. If you recall the Crown Act, y'all, that said, hey, a person cannot be discriminated at work or school from the way they wear their natural hair. So that law is in place, but does that mean there's nobody policing it? Because I hear from my clients that still have to have styles, they are sensitive of it, that do not cause distraction, or they're mocked when they go into a meeting, with their Caucasian counterparts. Oh, can I touch your hair? Oh, girl, I love your style. The microaggression. Got to be a Black sister to understand that. So there's 4 bills. Okay, it's a package. The Food and Drug Administration announced it would decide by April 2024 whether, now this coincides with the chemical, with PERM. April 2024, Food and Drug Administration announced it would decide by then whether chemical hair straightening and products sold in the U.S. would be banned from using formaldehyde or ingredients that can release formaldehyde when heated. The package also includes the Cosmetic Safety Protections for Communities of Color and Salon Workers Act. Let me go back a little bit. We've been hearing about the PERM situation. That's why there was a mass exodus of many women transitioning and coming more into the natural arena. And that's been years, right? Well, it's just reaching the Congress floor, along with the package also includes Cosmetic Safety Protections for Communities of Color and Salon Workers Act, which targets the disproportionate exposure to toxic chemicals in cosmetic products marketed to salon workers and women of color, especially Black women. Where is the proposal? The proposal, however, has been in limbo since 2024 and was further held up after President Donald Trump signed an executive order pausing all federal regulations. There are 4 bills, y'all. And what I'm going to do in the comments is put the information about the bills in plain English. So, just this past Friday, what's the day? Saturday, August 9th, yesterday, August the 8th, I had been away from the salon for a few days. And when I went in, I do what I normally do, and I began to use a product. When I opened the jar and started using the product, I began to have shortness of breath. That's not new, because then it dawned on me that I have been having shortness of breath for a long time. You know how you do a thing and you're like, wait a minute, this has been going on. The second year that I did crochet, tumors showed up in my lymph glands and behind my nose. If you will look, they were taken out. That was 2016. 2 different tumors. I'm not insinuating anything. What I'm saying is, I'm a black woman that at 66 and the last 12 years, I've never had any major health issues. But in 2016, that was pretty major. How I discovered it is I was doing massage at the time too. And whenever I would have massage sessions or a day of massage and I was doing here, I would go to the Y and get in the hot tub and then go into the steam room and I would do self-massage, for those that are in the industry. We do self-massage, right, on the neck and the shoulders, on our legs. And I was palpating back here and I came, around to my side and I felt something different. And right here, unless I point it out. Now, I know I got a little age on it. I got a little seasoning. But this is where they went in. So it's kind of droopy here. And there's a tumor here and then behind my nose. And I didn't have any symptoms, like I said, because I was palpating myself and I noticed it. And I said, when I go to the doctor next, I'm going to have it checked. So I was in the at work, and I remember having my earbud on, and the doctor called and she said, the technician that does CT scan scanned you from your forehead all the way to sternum, and we see 2 masses. End up going to ear, nose, and throat doctor that he did a biopsy right in the office, big old long needle. And then I had to wait over the July 4th holiday. And during that season, I had chosen to stay in the most aware state. Don't go in the rabbit hole. Although the subconscious mind gonna take you there. Because this world say, hey, if you got any tumors or the word with the C possibility, you gonna die. And I rebuke that, because I'm still here today. But I'm trying to give you all the insight of what I went through then, and I promised to myself, because I went back to get the stitches, I had to get surgery. They removed it, $40,000 later. Then I had to go get stitches, and when I went to the ear, nose, and throat, he's like, well, we still don't know why you had 2 different tumors, and they want to put it on a particular rare category. They named it, but let me just say, I don't knock the medical field 1,000%, but our country medical versus holistic is 2 different things, and me coming from the holistic arena, I stay in my scope of practice of awareness, but I have some awareness, okay? And he said, we need to find out why you had 2 different tumors. So then I was referred to a medical oncologist. Now I'm going to see a cancer doctor. I'm bewildered because at this point they haven't given me any medication. Although what they said the disease is typically, if it's that, we typically treat it like it's malignant. I'm like, what? You mean, yeah, the whole radiation and all that? I'm like, oh, hell no. Excuse me, I ain't mean to curse. And then again, y'all need to understand where I'm coming from. The day before I was supposed to go back in to the medical oncologist, she said, I'm going to give you some medicine. Somebody's going to have to drive you because we're going to do a bone marrow biopsy. I said, oh, hell. And then the nurses are calling and saying, we're trying to schedule for this clinical trial. The doctor didn't say anything about being in this clinical trial at Duke University. You got to use discernment. I did. I prayed about it. I ain't hear I was supposed to go Duke University. I didn't hear that I was supposed to get a bone marrow biopsy. I peed in a red bucket for a day and turn it back, and then I had to go into another deep scan where you can't move your body. They confirmed no more tumors within my body. But I said, no, I'm not doing anything further. And I'm still here. Fast forward, it's 2024, and I learned that we need to research what we're working with. March, the announcement about synthetic hair. I'm finding journal, reports that are out there, very few at the time. Then February 17th, this article comes up, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So yesterday I'm at work, and I began to use a particular product that I've been using. I'm sure it's not intentional, but we as black people, we pretty much don't believe a thing unless it's happening to you. So I got shortness of breath. I'm experiencing a interesting mole on my shin, which, according to my doctor, she asked me my ethnicity, and I could tell her because I had my DNA done, and there's a percentage that's European, and the mole looks different. So that was biopsied, and I was given information about that. So here I am. When I sat and took away when I took away the emotion and looked at the facts, 2016, these tumors, something suspicious on my leg, and I got something else on my lower belly. I'm being real with y'all, okay? Not dramatic, but for real, okay? Now I've got the schedule. I've got an order in from the doctor. Doctor placed an order for me to get fully examined by a dermatologist, to go and get a lung screening. And I'm still curious about how to identify if in my blood, the things I've been working with, like the synthetic hair. You can do the ACV rinse all you want. The fibers are still the fibers. Companies are coming out with alternative hair, banana fiber hair. Yep, there's such a thing. There's a sister that created a company 7 years ago. So people like her are probably booming right now because people are looking. I did transition working with human hair extensions and a hybrid technique with weave hair. I believe we should wash that too. Because how much human hair out there really? That's a whole nother story. I'm learning you can test. A friend of mine said you could test it. I looked it up. Yep, a burn test on the human hair. You got human hair in your head. Take a strand and burn it. If it smells like hair, you good. If it don't smell like hair, I ain't got nothing else to say. Bottom line is, I am only working with non-toxic products. I will be in touch with those of you who are on my books. I know August is slow. I will assist in removing the hair you have in while I wear gloves and a mask. I will consult with you on making a choice for human hair options, but you have to do your work as well. Products, y'all, for your scalp, your hair, especially y'all that have children and you're using them. Pull up the Yuka app, Y-U-K-A. Anybody can do this. It's for food and cosmetics. It's actually a great tool. So at the end of the day, you can scan what you've been using That's step one. Hear me out. You scan it, it'll, on the scale of 0 to 100, it'll let you know if it's in the red zone, and it'll break down the ingredients and tell you why it's in the red zone. Or if it's in the green zone, then you're good. But if it's in the red zone, on the same app at the bottom, it'll show you alternatives. So all is not lost. That's for hair care, scalp and hair products and skin products. But when it comes to the synthetic hair and the human hair, so synthetic hair, there's no ingredients on the packages. You might see Toyokalon or Kanekalon. All right? I'm working on something which is to continue to educate as I go through. I am putting my stake in the ground. I'm anchoring. I am not touching anything that hasn't, the ingredients are fully listed, and I have an opportunity to look at the ingredients because of the list of top ingredients that affect Black women. This ain't stuff from yesterday. There's a site called safecosmetics.org. They've been established over 20 years. I never knew about it. And I know many of you haven't either. You know, when you're told a thing, you're like, you can't believe it. Well, I don't hear nobody else having situations, or I never have any situations, so it must be you. Well, dear client, I'm scheduling lung exam. I'm having to schedule dermatologist exam, and fortunately, I can connect with the conference, with experts in the conference, which I have that already reached out, and they made me aware. They said, remember, we told y'all that symptoms may not be right away, but it's accumulative. And so I have to look at this in 2 to 3 different ways. First of all, my mindset, keeping my mind calm, knowing that I already chose that anything that shows up in my body and I need to go check it out, that I'm just getting information. And as I get information, then I can decide from that information what steps to take, not without divine discernment. I like to know that whatever I'm involved in, that I'm adding value and not taking away. But when you are made aware of a thing, the next best thing is to be one who is adding value in the situation. I love my clients. I'll be in touch with y'all so we can strategize how we gonna navigate, whether you transition out fully, whether we transition to human hair. And then don't forget all your products at home. Look at your products, your significant other products, your children products. Yeah. But at the end of the day, what's going on in our country, which has been going on for a long time, we as Black people are targeted for a lot of things. And you know what? My personality is one. I'm trying to stay calm. But I'm going to tell y'all everything I find out. And then we make a different choice. And that's what I'm choosing to do. And we may not like it. You might process this like, ooh, she doing too much. Okay. I'm shifting. God has blessed me with multiple skills and talents. These skills and talents that I have are my medicine, my creativity, my encouragement work as a metaphysical minister is all from the heart. There's no show and tell. I'm being as authentic as I possibly can be. And I choose to live my life in the most aware way possible. So I'm breathing through this, but I'm making commitment to my clients at the same time to myself. I have some things in the work to continue to share information in a creative way and resources that you'll be able to make decisions as you care about your crown. It took a lot to me to share this. I'm looking forward to seeing what Spirit does in this now moment. I'm looking forward to learning more about from the test that I have to take. I'm standing in all of the faith that got me through many different things, from witnessing plane crashes in icy waters on the 14th Street Bridge, from home invasion when my daughter was 3 years old, to the tumor situation and what I experienced here in this house when I first moved in. What I pay attention to is the unseen, the divine that walks with me. Yay. So I'll be posting this. Let's my clients and I cross the bridge of awareness together. Okay? Make your decisions, about what you would prefer to experience. I'll be scheduling and available to schedule takeouts and assist you before that with choosing something different should you want to continue. I know this is a major change. I know it's going to get real quiet. It's quiet right now anyway for August. Lots of people are finishing vacation and sending your kids back to school. Y'all be safe out there. It's all good. I'll be back or available to talk on Wednesday. My days off. I gotta chill. And I have work that I need to do creatively to create a different way of being with my Crown Care ministry, okay? So I got y'all, but you're gonna hear a lot from me through my podcast that I'll post on Crochet and Microlock Elegance. The playlist is called Dear Client. One note, I am experiencing some technical issues with my phone. For those that might pick up the phone and want to call me or text me. So I say reach out to me on Messenger until I can work that situation out. Peace.